In the 1981 NFC Championship, the Dallas Cowboys met the San Francisco 49ers in one of the NFL's greatest games.
They say Rose Bowl's the granddaddy of them all, but being here, it's overcoming that. This might be the great-great-granddaddy right now. This is what it's all about.
A berth in Super Bowl 16 was at stake. And for 60 nail-biting minutes, the winner was constantly in question. But in the end, legend stepped out of obscurity and made this championship one for the ages. Forever recognized by its classic ending. From start to finish, the 1981 NFC Championship was one of the NFL's greatest games.
We talked about being champions from July 7th. We're champions right now. We got one more to go. Congratulations for a tremendous effort.
Super Bowl, baby!
Beating the Cowboys for the NFC Championship was a tremendous challenge because the Cowboys had always beaten the 49ers when the pressure was on. It happened under John Brody. Some outstanding 49er teams lost to the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs.
None was more disheartening than 1972, when Roger Staubach threw 2 touchdowns in the final minutes and won 30-28. While San Francisco collapsed, Dallas rolled to 5 Super Bowl appearances. By the end of the decade, Tom Landry was a coaching icon, and his Cowboys were known as America's team. In 1979, first-year head coach Bill Walsh was rebuilding a 49er team that had become the laughingstock of the NFL. And among the 14 losses that first season was a 21-13 defeat at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys. One year later in Dallas, the gap widened as Danny White replaced the retired Roger Staubach and led a 59-14 rout.
We had pretty much control over the 49ers at that point, but all of a sudden, they got good.
In 1981, the 49ers finally assembled a team that could spell trouble for the Dallas Cowboys. Sudden success began with a defense built on speed and the ability to produce takeaways. 3 rookies, including Ronnie Lott, started in the secondary, and when their energy combined with veterans like Dwight Hicks, number 22, Jack Hacksaw Reynolds, and Fred Dean, the 49ers started making the plays that win games instead of losing them. A team that had only 10 combined wins in the previous 3 seasons won a league-high 13 games in 1981. This startling turnaround could be traced directly to the man who gave the 49ers a winning game plan, head coach Bill Walsh.
What? The quarterback went inside, so I blocked 50. Yeah, you did the best you could. That's a good job.
Walsh's wide-open style instantly made the offense more entertaining. But the 49ers didn't start winning until he discovered the hidden talents of a very special quarterback who shared his vision for how the game should be played. His name was Joe Montana.
I wanted to play the game as more of a chess game, and one move's going to lead to another, and you're not always going to get the king and immediately. And eventually, 4-yard here, 5-yard there, 10-yard here is as wearing, if not more, on a defense than one 70-yard touchdown. That was more my style than anything.
Walsh found new ways to utilize Montana's unique skills.
If we call 80X hook again, and they got bumping one on Dwight, we'll just have Dwight run a full speed slant. Got it? And just take a step out and go in there.
No one ever threw better on the run, on the move, especially to his right, than Montana did.
In 1981, the 49ers became the team to beat, but few believed it until the season's 6th week, when the Dallas Cowboys came to town.
I think in a lot of ways we were trying to make a point. You know, we were trying to tell people we were pretty good, which was something that people needed a lot of convincing, as bad as we'd been for a couple years before that. Dallas coming into that game was the team, and you know, we were just a little light line and a little skinny quarterback and the sort of a hodgepodge rookies and old guys defense, and people weren't giving us much credit.
It was almost like, who are these guys and where are they coming from and how are they doing this to us? They're not, this is not supposed to happen to the Cowboy defensive doomsday defense too, and they shocked us.
Joe riddled our entire secondary. My rookie year, I was in the left corner. I saw like 15 balls a game. This game was no different, except that they were a lot more accurate than the prior games.
They said that the real Cowboys didn't show up, that it was just another team. They weren't themselves that day, and talking a lot of junk. And you know, our owner got into it a little bit, and I think Eddie said, well, they ate it once, they can eat it again.
When they beat us in the regular season in '81, it was a rude awakening for us, and losing that game forced us pretty much to go to San Francisco to beat them in the NFC Championship game.
Okay, tell Freddie to get his ass in gear. Tell Freddie to split about 6 or 7 yards on this thing, and then get his ass up that field, and you watch that safety, okay? Okay.
In the first round of the playoffs, the 49ers blew away the Giants 34-24. A day later in Dallas, the Cowboys beat the Buccaneers 38-0, setting the stage for one of the NFL's greatest games.
When we went to play them in the playoffs, there was not much fear in us because we knew that they weren't going to sneak up on us again.
I remember Hacksaw Reynolds, before we played the Cowboys in the championship game, Hacksaw came down to breakfast that morning, and as he walked into the cafeteria, he had his whole uniform on, and he had the eye black, he had his hands taped, and you know, Bill didn't say much about it. He just went on as if, you know, that's Hacksaw.
The 49ers' intensity would be mirrored by the confident Cowboys.
Well, these Cowboys have been the raspberry seed in the eye tooth of the 49ers for many years. Here's the kick by Worshing, and it is taken by Jimmy Newsome on the 8. 10, 15, 20, runs right, 25, and down at about the 26-yard line. And quite a few of the 49ers were there, led by Mike McCall, the linebacker. And it's from the 26, a 19-yard return by Jimmy Newsome. McCall was the tackler on the first play of the game, and the Cowboys go from their 26-yard line. I formation with Danny White under center, and they can match you in a multitude of ways. They got a lot of weapons. Dorsett and Springs in the backfield. They're in the I formation. And on first down, here's the toss to Dorsett running right. He gets about 2 yards, and down he goes. He was tripped up by Harper, the linebacker, and then he was well covered after a gain of a couple of yards.
In that first game here at Candlestick, when the 49ers won so big, Fred Dean just about destroyed everybody on the offensive line for Dallas.
On second down and 8, Danny White with a long snap count. Now takes the ball, and he's back to throw. Steps and throws, overthrew his man. He tried to get it to Doug Crosby, the tight end. Crosby had Jack Reynolds trailing him. The ball ball is at the Cowboy 28, and it's 3rd and 8. And they shift into the shotgun. Out of the double wing. The snap to Danny White. Back to throw on 3rd and 8. He is rushed out of the pocket and sacked. Back at the 15-yard line, he was blasted. I mean, hit hard by Dwayne Board, the defensive end. They were roaring, and the line of scrimmage is now the Dallas 14-yard line.
13-yard loss on that sack by Dwayne Board.
The Cowboys were able to keep the ball for 1 minute and 15 seconds, and now Danny White will get the punt away from his 5-yard line. Freddie Solomon goes back as the punt return man. There's the kick by White. It's a good one. It booms out down to the 35 of San Francisco, and the ball is returned. All the way across the field comes Solomon. He avoids about 4 tackles, stumbles, comes out to the 35, and down he goes at the 37-yard line. He ran smack from one side of the field to the other. He was chased by 100 people out there. A 49-yard punt, a 3-yard return. Angelo King, the tackler. The 49ers have the ball at their 37.
He did a marvelous job of just staying on his feet and getting all the way across the field. He ran a lot of ways to get just 3 yards, didn't he?
He certainly did. Joe Montana goes to work with Earl Cooper in the backfield with him. 2 tight end formation. From the 37, a pass by Montana. He throws to the sideline. It's caught for big yards and probably a first down. It is a first down. Out to the 48-yard line. And it was Schumann, the flanker, who caught the ball for a first down, a gain of 11. And a big gain on the very first play.
Here they go again.
Here's another by Montana. It's chased out of the pocket. And now he throws, and it's incomplete beyond midfield. He tried to get it to Lendell Elliott, who's starting in their backfield in the absence of Ricky Patton for the 49ers.
The Cowboys now change their defense on 2nd and long yardage, expecting a 49er pass coming up.
The ball is at the 48-yard line of San Francisco. 6 defensive backs for Dallas. Here's a toss to Cooper running left. Turns upfield, gets down to the Dallas 49-yard line before he is tackled. And it is going to be 3rd down and 7 for the 49ers. So they have 4 wide receivers. 2 of them as setbacks. 3rd and 7, and another pass play by Montana. He's on the roll. He's being chased. He throws on the run, and it is caught inside the 35 of Dallas for a first down. The tight end, Charlie Young, really knew what to do, and he came back and helped out.
17-yard gain on that pass completion from Montana to Charlie Young, and once again, Montana is so mobile and can run so well and gets around so well and is such a fine athlete that he's very difficult to rush.
First down for the 49ers at the Dallas 32-yard line. Motion by Solomon. Young is split left. First down pass by Montana. Stays in the pocket. Throws wide open. It's caught inside the 15-yard line. First and goal as Lendell Elliott caught the ball, and he is down to the Dallas 8-yard line, and Montana was really on the dinero that time.
25-yard gain for the 49ers. The pass completion to Lendell Elliott. Elliott, of course, played under Bill Walsh when he was at Cincinnati. A fine pass receiver, a marvelous athlete, and that's why he's here.
First and goal from 7.5 yards away. Solomon in motion. Here's a pass play by Montana. It's caught, and it is down for a touchdown. Solomon was hit at the 4 by Sherman. He stumbled, he staggered, and he went in for the first points of the day.
Scoring the first time you got the ball, you know, definitely sent a message, and making that point against the Cowboys in that game was critical because, you know, they had said we hadn't seen the real Cowboys. Well, you know, maybe when we scored 45 points, they hadn't seen the real Niners either.
49ers really don't mind throwing it, do they? One running play is all they had in that entire drive.
Montana and the 49ers walk right down the field. They lead 6-0 with 10:41 remaining here in the first quarter. Ray Wersching will try the extra point. He was perfect all season long, and he makes it 7-0. That Summerall, no matter how confident the Cowboys were coming in, the 49ers had to put a little doubt in their mind with that drive.
It certainly did. They went 63 yards, 6 plays. They kept the ball 2 minutes, 41 seconds. Montana's 4 out of 5 for 60 yards and the touchdown pass to Solomon.
James Jones is the deep man waiting waiting for the Wershing kick. There is the kick. High, short, will be returned by Jones from the 11. He's to the 15-20, runs right. He gets to the 25, but did not get to the 30-yard line. He is out of bounds right at the Dallas 29. That's where they'll mark it. And Bobby Leopold, the linebacker, downfield to do the defensive work for the 49ers, who, by the way, are a very good defensive football team.
They keep getting better and better. Those two key trades they made, and plus the key draft that they had.
They line up in a four-man front, the 49ers do, as White has Dorsett in the backfield, and here's a pass play by White. He pumps it short, and it is caught out at the 34-yard line. It's good for a gain of 5 yards. Jack Reynolds was the tackler as he gave it to Billy Joe Dupree.
And that's the kind of mismatch you'd like to create.
Second down and 5 as White hits on the pass. He has Springs back in the lineup. Pearson is to the right. And here's a pop up the middle by Dorsett, and he comes across the 40-yard line for a first down. Out to the 42, and it's a first down for Dallas. Hicks made the tackle on Dorsett, who looks like he wants to play a little bit today.
That's one of the real keys for Dallas. They have great wide receivers. They have 3 of them who are outstanding. Persons of Pearson, Hill, and Butch Johnson, but in order for them to be effective, in order for them to win this football game, it has to be a good day for Dorsett.
That's the first down of the day for the Cowboys. They're at their 42-yard line. They use a wing formation. And motion now by Dupree. First in one direction, now back to the right. And here's White to throw. Sets, he's faced out of the pocket. A flag is thrown. White throws incomplete and will check the flag. And when the referee throws the flag, you better bet it's holding.
That is Jim Tunney, who's back of the quarterback as he drops back. In this case, Danny White. It is indeed against Dallas, and it is holding.
It's 7-0 in favor of the 49ers with 9 minutes left in the first quarter of this contest. Split back, Springs and Dorsett. Now the I formation. And White is delaying the ball to Dorsett. Has running room. He is taken down on a great effort after a 5-yard gain.
And now the 49ers come in with their 4-man front, which again includes that number 74, Fred Dean. Here's Dorsett.
Dorsett takes a toss right and comes out across the 45-yard line before he touches down at the 46. It's going to make it 3rd down and 7 for Dallas as John Harty, the rookie linebacker out of Iowa, made the tackle. And now an official's timeout as a player is shaken up across the field. Who's down, Pat?
It is Tony Dorsett, who is still down and being administered to at the moment.
Tony Dorsett just got to his feet, and he walks off the field under his own power. 4 wide receivers for Dallas, shotgun formation. 3rd and 7. Back to throw. Danny White has time. Sets and throws long down the middle, and it is caught. Some reception at the 35 of San Francisco. Some catch was made by Butch Johnson. How in the world did he catch that ball?
Miraculous. Looking back into the sun, diving, everything. All the superlatives you could say about that. 20 yards, first down, Dallas.
To the 34 of San Francisco. A big gain on 3rd down. And a first down for the Cowboys. They're in the I formation. On first down, here's a delay to Jones. And where was he hit? He lost a yard. He ran right into Archie Reese, the nose guard. No gain. Lost a yard, in fact. It's 2nd and 11. Here's another delay to Jones. He cuts it back and goes down to the 30-yard line and down to the 29 of San Francisco before Willie Harper tackled him. It's going to be a 3rd down play coming up. The ball will be held at the 35-yard line. He kicks it through, and the Cowboys are on the board on a 45-yard field goal.
And they did that with only 10 men on the field.
4:45 left in the first quarter with the score now 7-3. San Francisco. They have Bill Ring and Amos Lawrence back waiting for the kickoff from our right to our left on a sunny day in San Francisco. Here's the kick by Septien. It will be returned. Ring fights the sun, takes it on the 5, comes to the 10, 15, 20, got about to the 21-yard line, and that's all. There come the 49ers with Joe Montana at the controls and Earl Cooper in the backfield with him. 2 two tight end formation with Hicks split left. Another pass play by Montana over the middle, and it is caught by the tight end Young with one hand. He looked like a shortstop diving for the ball at the 29-yard line, and he picked up 8 yards.
Remarkable catch. You can pretty well figure that the 49ers are going to throw it every play.
On second down, here's the fake to Cooper and a pass play by Montana. Stops and throws it away. Threw it up here to us. Third down and 2. Jones, Bethea, White, and Martin dig in on third down and 2. Here's the running play to Ring. Nothing doing. He was smacked by Brunig, the linebacker, on a third down carry. And it is a fumble, and the ball belongs to Dallas. Ring was really blasted, and Dallas comes away with the ball inside the 49er 30-yard line.
Big turnover, and that may be the most important statistic there is, turnover.
Hegman made a strong hit, and the Cowboys get the ball back at the San Francisco 29-yard line, and the Cowboys go to work. On first down, right up the middle is Jones. He drives to the 25. He got 4 yards for the Cowboys. You can almost tell when they got that field goal a while ago, Pat, and got on the board, they say, well, okay, we're in it, let's go. Second down and 6 from the 25. White checks the defense. Back to throw. Short drop, throws long, and it is Hill, and it is a touchdown.
3 minutes into the second quarter, the 49ers offense finally awoke.
Earlier this season, the 49ers won 7 in a row. Now they have another winning streak underway, so they haven't been behind very often as they are now.
Sort of a strange feeling. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't think they'll make any major adjustment in their game plan. They've been throwing just about every down, and they'll probably continue.
On second and 8, here's a bootleg by Montana, who avoids the rush and throws downfield, and it is caught inside the 30-yard line of Dallas on a spectacular play and catch by Dwight Clark. What a job Montana did of avoiding the rush by Ed Jones.
Too Tall and Harvey Martin, all those guys kept trying to get to Joe, and he was talking junk to him the whole time. Come on, where you been all day? You know, I hadn't seen you back here too much, because they would get close, and our offensive tackles were saying, you know, hey, Joe, settle down a little bit. They take that out on us.
Motion by the tight end, Ramson, and here's Montana staying in the pocket and sacked now inside the 35. First by Harvey Martin and Randy White right there with him. And the offensive line that they've been bragging about here in San Francisco crumbled a bit. It's second down and 15. Here's another pass play. Montana throws it in a hurry. Caught inside the 25. The tackle made at the 22. A substantial gain on the catch by Clark.
Dwight Clark is a lot better than the 49ers thought he was going to be when they first drafted him. Actually, they were going to look, when they scouted him and went to Clemson, they were going to look at Steve Fuller, the quarterback. And when Bill Walsh went to work it out, they had a guy catching the ball, and he said, who the heck is that guy? And it turned out to be Dwight Clark.
Third and 5 for the 49ers. Pass play by Montana. He throws in deep, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Walls. He looked up, and there was the ball, and he grabbed it. It's at the Dallas 1-yard line on an interception by Walls. The pass intended for Mike Wilson on a circling route down into the end zone. At the Dallas 1-yard line with 9:57 left in the half.
Pinned deep in its own territory, the Cowboys were unable to gain a first down, then forced a punt. The 49ers took possession at the Cowboys' 47-yard line.
And the score is 10-7 Dallas. 49ers go to work with Joe Montana at the controls. He's 6'2", 200-pounder. He gives it in the big hole for Cooper, the fullback. Woo, he ran down to the 36 for a first down. He got 11 yards on a big pop up the middle. Lewis and Waters tackled it.
Misdirection play in which they pulled the guard, and nobody blocked the defensive tackle on that side, and Cooper had a big hole.
And an 11-yard pickup and a first down for the 49ers. Montana with a pass. He throws, and it is caught inside the 25-yard line. And that's another first down to the 24 of Dallas. Caught by Solomon. He was hit hard from behind by Everson Walls, but he held the ball. We have 6.5 minutes left in the half. Dallas is on top, 10-7. Earlier today, Cincinnati defeated San Diego 27-7.
I just got a feeling that the 49ers have got something cooked up here where one of their receivers is going to be wide open this time.
Montana. He's going to put it up again. He is rushed. He avoids the sack. He throws. End zone. Touchdown for San Francisco. What great work by Montana. The pass to Clark. I'm telling you, he was the only person in the entire end zone.
I don't know how he got so open. I think the Cowboys just gave up because they thought that Montana was down.
The intangible of the Montana stepping up in the pocket. We didn't defense that. We didn't know how to do that. We had the pressure at that point, and so that's the reason why Clark and Montana made the play happen.
And then he saw Clark in the end zone by himself. He was absolutely the only person in the entire end zone, and the 49ers are back on top 13-10, make it 14-10. With 6:12 left in the half. So the 49ers prevail once again.
Dallas met San Francisco's challenge on its next possession. Tony Dorsett returned to the game and fueled a march that carried the Cowboys from their own 20 across midfield.
Just about the kind of game I think we all expected in the beginning. They're at the San Francisco 48. And White's going to put it up. He fakes short and throws long for Pearson. Pearson covered by Lott. He intercepts the ball. A flag has been thrown. Lott's back to the 15-20, to the 25-30, to the 36-yard line before he stops. And now we'll deal with the flag. And it's interference against the 49ers. So they do not have the ball. Dallas has it inside the 15. That one I can't believe, Jack. Well, we get a chance to watch a replay of it. Lott was battling Pearson downfield. Boy, I saw nothing on the replay that would indicate there was offensive interference. Did you? If there was any interference, it looked as if it should have been through Pearson. The ball is at the 12-yard line of the 49ers. It winds up being a 31-yard gain for Dallas. Well, there's one. Put a circle around that play. They'll be talking about this one when it's over, particularly if the 49ers lose. First down, Dorsett pops it inside the 10. Dorsett's down to the 6-yard line. It is second down and 4. Here is Springs, hit at the line of scrimmage by Reynolds. Dives to the 5. Reynolds stopped Springs cold at the 5-yard line of the 49ers. Actually, Springs did a good job to get as much as he did because Reynolds hit him before he got back to the line of scrimmage. Springs kept his feet and got down inside the 5 or 2 about the clock. Red Dean checks in defensively. Here's a toss to Dorsett trying to get outside. He goes into the end zone for a touchdown. So the interference call against the 49ers puts Dallas on top on a 5-yard run by Tony Dorsett with Springs cracking down on the block. Made it look easy, didn't he? Dorsett with that fluid motion, easy glide that he has. Once he got to about the 2-yard line, he just held the ball out and said, I'm in, leave me alone. And the Cowboys lead 16-14. Septien out of the hold of Waters will try to add the point. A good snap. Waters gets it down. The kick is good. The Cowboys lead by 3 with 2:30 left in the half.
In the final minutes of the first half, both teams seemed stricken by nervousness. Amos Lawrence recovered a Cowboys fumble, but the Doomsday defense responded by lowering the boom on Montana. But Dallas, too, was unable to capitalize, and the first half would end as it began, with the outcome of the 1981 NFC Championship game very much in doubt.
I still don't have any idea who's going to win. Do you? No idea at all. Well, the gun is sounded, ending the first half with a score. Dallas 17, the 49ers 14. Let's take time out. Well, the 49ers had 3 turnovers in the first half. They cannot afford any in the second half. That's such a big key. You can talk about time of possession. You can talk about interceptions.
This should be a blistering second half here in San Francisco. Lawrence takes the kickoff on the 2, comes out across the 15 to the 20, and he is tackled near the San Francisco 24. Robert Newhouse was downfield. Now the 49ers try to move the pigskin.
We learned to have the killer punch. We knew that we had to knock people out, and that's the demeanor we had at halftime. We knew that we were going to be challenged in the second half.
4 minutes into the third quarter, San Francisco started a march that suggested they were ready to retake the lead.
Out they come. It is first down and 20 at the 49-yard line of Dallas. Here's a pass play by Montana. Look out, Joe. He steps up in the pocket, throws. It's caught inside the 35 of Dallas. Big yards to the tight end. He has thrown while his body has been in awkward positions frequently today, but he's been effective. 2nd and 4. Here's another pass. He rolls right and throws. It's caught by Cooper. First down, out of bounds. 49ers are on a roll now to the Dallas 16. They can really chew you up when they get rolling.
Again, the 49ers use their passing attack, perhaps unlike any other team in pro football. That is a possession-type passing attack, which is difficult to explain, but true.
49ers trying to move in to go ahead. They're not thinking field goal. Here's the first down pass by Montana. Look out. The blitz. He pops it off. It's intercepted by White inside the 15-yard line. Montana was being blitzed, and he threw the ball, and it went off the hands of his receiver and into the hands of Randy White for the 4th San Francisco turnover today.
That's a name you won't hear on interceptions very often, Randy White. Usually he's back around the quarterback somewhere, and that's the first pass in his pro career that he's intercepted.
Hey, let's go. We're going to get it back. We're taking it.
Dorsett and Springs in the backfield. White from his own 13 is going to pass, surprisingly. Rolls right and throws. Springs can't handle it out around the 20-yard line. He led him a bit too much. And it is going to be second down. Here's another pass play by White inside the 5. He throws, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Leopold. Back with the ball inside the 15. The ball was tipped by Springs, caught by Leopold. That I was really surprised to see Dallas with Dorsett and Springs throwing the ball while they had the lead after getting the interception by Randy White.
That interception was caused by the pressure put on by Fred Dean.
And the ball was intercepted by Bobby Leopold. Came off the hands of Ron Springs, and is right back at the Dallas 13-yard line.
And the Cowboys look confused on offense. 49ers with a chance certainly now to tie it up.
At least tie it up. First down. And here is Ring running left. What a good block he got inside the 10. He is down near the 7-yard line. Walt easily really buried the would-be tackler. It's second down and 4 at the Dallas 7. 6:50 left in the third quarter. Dallas leading by 3. 17-14. Here's a toss to Easley running right. He is hit and dives to the 5-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and 2. Mike Hegman tackled him, and Easley was carrying that ball in very, very unprofessional fashion.
Lucky he didn't lose it.
Here comes a meaningful moment in this game. At the Dallas 5, 3rd and 2. Montana gives to the second man Ring. He slides right and dives. Very close to a first down at the 3-yard line. What a lunge he got, stretching out. He's very close to a first down. Pat, supposing he didn't make the first down, would you go for it on the ground if you were the 49ers?
I think you have to at this point.
I don't think you can just tie the Cowboys and think that you're going to prevail in the last moments of the game.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he made it. They're going to stretch the chain. He is short by inches.
You got to
short by 3 inches, and Bill Walsh, the coach, says,
big backs. Big backs. Big backs.
The ball is at the Dallas 3, and it's 4th down and inches. And the 49ers say, we don't want the tie. We want the first down and the touchdown. Montana, sneak. He got it. Montana with a quarterback sneak, and a flag comes down. A flag comes down. What a time for a flag to come down, and offside is going to be the call. It's against Dallas. Offside Dallas, so they don't have to worry about the measurement now. It's first and goal from a yard and a half away after they mark off the penalty.
How far, Sam? Okay, U formation, big backs. Big back. Double dive right. Thick score, man.
The ball is at the Dallas 1. Just outside the 1, we'll call it the 1. Davis is still in there. He is a big back, and he had 7 rushing touchdowns this year. He packs the wallop. First and goal, Davis, touchdown! Johnny Davis from a yard away, and the 49ers in this seesaw, sing-song, ding-dong game have the lead again by 3, and it could be 4. The extra point try by Wersching, trying to give the 49ers a 4-point lead. It's good. 21-17. 5:44 left in the third quarter. So now it behooves the Cowboys to get something going offensively.
Dallas did just that.
No pressure. He throws and caught for a first down at the 45. That quiets the crowd just a bit.
The Cowboys drove methodically to the 49ers' 40-yard line.
They got 5. The Cowboys are moving it. 27 seconds left in the third quarter. And on third down, White's going to throw. He sets up and throws long down the right sideline. And it is a flag thrown. And it looked like Lott ran into the receiver, Butch Johnson. If so, it happened inside the 15.
2 flags thrown from every position. This is against San Francisco.
Lott really, well, as good as he is, he really looked like a rookie that time, didn't he? Jumping up and down in front of the receiver. He wasn't playing the ball at all. He never did turn around, and that's interference.
No question about that one. You can question the first one, but that one was indeed interference.
That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The 49ers 21, the Dallas Cowboys 17. After an interference call against the 49ers and Ronnie Lott, the second of the day, the Cowboys are threatening to regain the lead. That summer, all the Cowboys were shut out during that third quarter. That doesn't happen to them very often.
Usually, after the intermission, after the halftime, they start to come on a little bit stronger. 6 times during the regular season, they came from behind in the fourth quarter to win. They'll have a chance to do it again today.
Hill comes in motion. And back to throw is White. He looks and throws end zone. It's caught by Dupree at the 5. Dupree at the 5-yard line hauled it in, and it's going to be third down and 3. The ball at the San Francisco 5. Danny White back to throw. Looks. He's chased. He's on the run and throws, and incomplete in the end zone. And Crosby gets up hollering about interference, but I think his own man, Springs, knocked him down in the end zone. And now we'll see what Landry wants to do.
That is exactly what happened, and here comes Rafael Septien.
Here's Septien trying a 23-yard field goal. The snap from center, Waters puts it down, and we have a 1-point game. San Francisco leads Dallas 21-20. The 49ers can afford to do nothing other than what they ordinarily do, and that is throw the ball.
Going to its strength, San Francisco came out winging. A 21-yard completion to Freddie Solomon gave the 49ers some breathing room. But when San Francisco tried to mix in a running play, disaster struck as Walt Easley fumbled.
Bob Bruning made the hit, and it was recovered by Wall.
Destiny was now in the hands of the Dallas Cowboys.
Matt Summerall, I think this record crowd is starting to get the idea here that their team is not going to win it if they continue to turn it over as they have. 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and you just can't do that against anybody, much less the Dallas Cowboys. First down in midfield for White, a delay to Dorsett running left. He breaks it to the 45. He's down to the 42, breaks it again and gets a first down to the 39-yard line. Tony Dorsett with a strong run to the San Francisco 39. You can almost close your eyes and know what's going to happen out here. Cowboys have done it so often. They trail by a point. And on first down, here is White with a pass play. Swings it out to Spring, and that's another first down. And Dallas can chew up that territory. Now we have exactly 11 minutes remaining in the game.
Come on, baby, give me them points. We want sides.
Already they're within field goal range, trailing by a point. White fakes it to Dorsett, and he's going to pass. Looks and throws end zone. Touchdown. Cosby caught the ball 1 yard out and walked in. A first down pass play puts Dallas back on top, and now the 49ers need a touchdown of their own to regain the lead.
We were using Dorsett as the threat that he is to bait the defense, to try to get an angle on him, and then Doug did a great job getting open, and it was just really a matter of getting the ball to him.
That Cosby was the man. You remember so many times during the year when they had to have a clutch touchdown or when they needed one, that's the man he looked for. And what an advantage it is to be 6'6", when you're looking down on those defensive backs who are only 6 feet. He made it look easy. 10:41 left in the game. Septien will try to make it a 6-point lead. Waters will hold the ball. It's a good snap. Waters gets it down. The kick is good. The Cowboys are on top with a score. Dallas 27, San Francisco 21. Let's take time out. Those turnovers again. In this case, a fumble by Easley right at midfield. And the Cowboys went those 50 yards in 4 plays. And the touchdown pass to Doug Cosby, and Dallas leads 27-21. Here's the kick to Bill Ring. He took it on the 1. He's to the 5, 10, 15, and what a big hit was made by Newhouse. Boy, that little son of a gun has been downfield all day, and he hasn't missed. Little, well, tiny, short, but 215, 220. The return by Ring to the San Francisco 17. They have a long way to go. They trail by 6. 10:32 remaining in the game. Some football game here in San Francisco. Oh, terrific. No matter who wins. 27-21, Dallas leads fourth quarter, 10:25 remaining. Montana back to throw. 4-man rush. Look out, Joe. He's chased out of the pocket. Sets up and throws. It's caught by Clark beyond the 35. First down to the 35-yard line of San Francisco. And Montana's agility allowed him to avoid the rush, complete the pass. Clark shook loose. Ron Fellows made the tackle. The ball at the 49er 35. Clark has 6 catches. First down pass play by Montana. Has time. Looks, throws long downfield. Heavy coverage. Wall. Intercept for Dallas. Everson Walls with his second of the game and the 6th turnover for San Francisco. 3 fumbles, 3 interceptions, and if there's one pass that Montana would like to have back for the entire year, it would be that one. That one right there, the second interception by Everson Walls on the same pattern. Walls came down with the first one at the 1-yard line, and the 49ers wound up scoring after Dallas couldn't get out of there. Now they're in better shape.
Destiny was now in the hands of the Dallas Cowboys.
Our philosophy basically is to keep the chains moving, get first downs, keep the ball in play, try not to run out of bounds or do anything that will stop the clock. Something we had worked on and talked about over and over and over again. And really, we felt like we did what we needed to do.
Dallas got the ball on the interception by Walls with 10:07 left. Now we have 5:20 left. Dallas has converted 4 out of their last 5 third-down situations and picked up those big first downs that continue to eat up that clock. Here's a 3rd and 6 play for Dallas. Out of the shotgun at the San Francisco 48. Back to throw is White. The pressure's on. He throws. It's open and incomplete to Donnelly. Incomplete. He was hit by Eric Wright as Donnelly, the wide receiver, went high in the air. Wright cut his legs out from under him, and Dallas is going to have to punt the ball with 5:03 left. You forget about how much pressure is on this.
My only thought was just don't kick it in the end zone because yards now are precious. The clock was on our side, and we knew that every yard of field position was going to be critical to the outcome of the game.
A fair catch is called for. Solomon took it on the 10-yard line. A 37-yard punt. And they marked the ball down at the San Francisco 11. That's how far they have to go to win.
Nobody drives the ball 89 yards on Dallas's defense with a lead where they had to score a touchdown to beat us. Nobody was going to do that, so we felt very confident going onto the field at that time.
89 yards, 4:54 left, 27-21 Dallas.
When we came into that huddle, what I was thinking is we have 89 yards to go against America's team. How can we possibly do it?
And out they come. This may very well be the last drive of the season by the 49ers. They start at their 11-yard line. I wonder if they'll be throwing long. They'll be throwing often, I'm sure of that.
Well, I think the feeling at the time from the broadcast booth, from our perspective, was that this Dallas defense is too good for the 49ers to be able to take the ball and go down the field and move in for a touchdown. They needed a touchdown, not a field goal.
A poor throw, it's incomplete.
We anticipated them throwing the ball to try to move the ball down the field, so we elected to go defense, nickel defense. We didn't anticipate them running the ball.
Motion by Cooper and a pass play, a delay, and it's open across the 15. Out near the 17-yard line comes Linville Elliott, tackled by Waters. And it's 3rd down and 4. Motion by Solomon out of the backfield, back to throw. Montana, his pass is caught beyond the 20-yard line for a first down. Solomon caught the ball, hit by Thurman, hit and how, but it's a first down out to the San Francisco 23. 3:35 left in the game. And here's the running play to Elliott, trying to get outside right. Barnes chases him. He comes across the 30-yard line and goes out of bounds at the 34. Unusual call, but effective.
Everyone thought we were going to throw the ball all the time. And in the type of defense they were playing, Bill decided to run the ball more than throw it.
I remember pleading in the huddle, key for the run. They're going to run the ball. We want them to run, but we got to hold them to a minimum.
3:10 left in the game. They're taking an awful lot of time. Here is the give to Elliott running left. He cuts upfield and comes to the 40. He's to the 41, and he got 7 yards. They're crossing up the Cowboys. Mr. Walsh is making some good calls here. Good, but unusual. All those wide runs that he's calling are chewing up a lot of time on the clock.
The thing that I remember the most was frustration. Just pure mounting, building frustration with every play because they were not beating our prevent defense in the classic style. They weren't throwing passes underneath, getting out of bounds. They were running the ball.
And Elliott gets the first down. A flag has been thrown as Elliott came to the 45. Offside Dallas.
It was just almost to the point of panic for those of us on the sideline. Enough is enough. Let's put an end to this thing. Let's get the ball back, run out the clock, and go on to the Super Bowl.
And we have 2:18 left in the game. The 49ers are at their 46th. Pass play by Montana. Steps up and throws. It's caught beyond midfield. Big yard, 6 yards. And Cooper hauled it in. He was brought down immediately by Barnes. If they score and win, this place is going to come down. We're coming up to the 2-minute warning because we are due for a dramatic finish of some sort. Joe Montana just back over to the sideline quickly to check with Bill Walsh.
This is really a pretty damn good reverse area, attempted right here. All right, Z reverse.
10-point fourth quarter for the Cowboys, which has made the difference. San Francisco scored 1 touchdown in each of the first 3 quarters, and they've been blank thus far here. 2nd down and 5, and the running play, and the reverse to Solomon. Coming around inside the 45-40. He is down to the 35-yard line for a first down.
I think the reverse to Freddie Solomon hurt them the worst because they knew it was coming, but in the sweep, they'd been so effective, they forgot about the reverse, and it cost them.
That's a play that Bill Walsh has run for the last 4 weeks, once in each game. Quickly, Montana. Back to throw again on first down. He throws to the sideline, and it is caught by Clark at the 25. He goes out of bounds. A brilliant throw and catch. Solomon to Clark to the Dallas 25. Stops the clock with 1:31 left.
He hit me on the sideline one time when it was supposed to be a 20-yard route, and I was exhausted, and I ran at 10, and the guy's right on me, and he sticks it right in there.
Now, with the clock stopped, the 49ers have time to talk about their approach. They're 6 points behind. behind. They need the touchdown. Now, 49ers have all three of their timeouts remaining. Dallas only has two. Right now, that's not even a factor. Out come the 49ers. First down at the Dallas 25. The Cowboys can't be too sure of what Montana's calling here. Solomon, the wide receiver, along with Hicks. Motion by Elliott. On first down, Montana with a pass. They can't get to him. He sets up and throws, and is caught inside the 15. First down.
As that drive went on, you could see in the Cowboys' eyes and in their body language, you know, they weren't the big bad Cowboys that were here to dominate us. I mean, they kind of figured out that we weren't bad.
Are the 49ers going to do to the Cowboys what the Cowboys have done to them so often? Looks like that's the kind of finish that we're looking at.
When we got inside the red zone, inside the 20-yard line, we were going to go for the end zone as many opportunities as we had.
1-1-5, a minute and 15 seconds left in the game. Montana 21 out of 33 for the day, 277 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1 by Randy White, 2 by Everson Walls. They got the ball at their 11-yard line, the 49ers did. They moved the ball down to the Dallas 13. They trail by 6. First down pass by Montana. He looks and throws. End zone. No. He threw it away from the defenders, and Solomon could not get to it. Incomplete. 1:09 left. Montana had the good protection, and Solomon made the right move. He got free.
The real bad thing was that I had missed Freddie wide open in the end zone, which, as a quarterback, you hate to do, and you feel like there was your chance gone now.
We'd set it up earlier in the game, and you're just waiting for that spot on the field to score with it, and we just missed it. So we had to go from there.
You got it. Make sure you do a hell of a job of
They were staying in their nickel form of defense, and once again they were in a position for our tight end to block their defensive end, and for us to get around the corner.
All right, what is it? Second and one. Really pretty
The big item here was a terrible spot for a team to be in, Pat, that they need the touchdown. The field goal is insignificant. Second and 10 from the Dallas 13. Montana on the ground, gives the ball. The running play to Elliott inside the 10. He's down to the 5-yard line. It's going to be third down and 2. 58 seconds left. Timeout called by the 49ers. Elliott running strongly. Went to the Dallas 5. 49ers have 1 timeout remaining and 58 seconds left. They trail by 6. I still don't know who's going to win.
We're going to call a sprint option. He's going to break up and break into the corner. Okay. You got it? Dwight will clear. Okay. And as soon as you see the angle he's breaking, then just drop the ball up there. If you don't get what you want, you'll just simply throw the ball away. Okay. You know what I mean? Hold it, hold it, hold it. Not there, away it goes. If you're ready to go to Dwight, you got it.
58 seconds remaining.
Don't pick. Sprint option.
Passes, which are ordinarily very difficult to complete close in, are the specialty of the San Francisco team, which is another big factor that they have going for them. They don't mind throwing the football. They think that is their strong point. There's an item here. They have 58 seconds left. That's a long time. Is there concern now to get the first down or the touchdown? It's third and 3. Concern right now is touchdown. Forget about first down. Well, how is this one going to end? Montana lines up at the 5. And on third down and 3, he rolls right, looking to throw. Looking to throw, and he throws into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown, San Francisco by Dwight Clark. He went way high in the air, and with 51 seconds remaining, he may have taken the 49ers to the Super Bowl. He and Joe Montana, what a play by Montana, what a catch by Clark. Looked like he was throwing it away. But Clark, who is 6'4", went spiraling into the air. 51 seconds remaining.
The play was called sprint right option. There was sort of a plan A and a plan B to the play. You know, plan A was Freddie Solomon and hitting Freddie Solomon as Joe rolled out. Plan B was Dwight Clark. And they actually had practiced that sort of end of the play, throwing it up and having him go after it.
They needed a touchdown and had to go from their own 11.
We were in a goal line defense. Really, Ed Jones was almost on top of him, you know, when he threw the ball, and everybody said, well, he was throwing it away, but he wasn't throwing it away because they came across and he made a great catch on the play.
89 yards in 12 plays.
That was the final outlet for Joe. Joe was to sprint out and hit Freddie Solomon on what they so-called pick play. This was a Paul Brown play from the early 50s. What Joe did was unbelievable. Some people weren't blocked, and they were right down Joe's throat. And yet Joe had the poise to hold the ball and hold it, and then throw it right up to that spot where he expected Dwight to be, and of course Dwight was there. So this was something that was practiced, but never practiced like that.
Clark made the catch. But what a play by Montana out of the pressure.
When I let go, you know, I thought it was arm lengths above his head. And when the crowd went crazy, I said, oh, no big deal. He caught the ball, right? You know, and I didn't know how great of a catch it really was until we were in the locker room. And they said, oh, he jumped for it, and it was a great catch. And I'm going, yeah, you know, I kind of thought I knew where it went, but it ended up being a little higher than I expected.
I guess I misjudged the touch on the ball. It wasn't like he rocketed the ball out of the end zone. He just kind of floated it up there. Not much rotation. At that time, it just looked like it was going out of the end zone.
My favorite moment was he threw the ball, he gets knocked to the ground, there's the roar of the crowd, and it was either Harvey Martin or Too Tall, or one of those guys said, you've just beaten America's team. And Joe said, well, you can sit at home with the rest of America and watch the Super Bowl.
But now remember this, it's tied 27-27. The extra point try by Wershing would put the 49ers on top. Here's the extra point. It is good. It is good. The 49ers lead 28-27 with 51 seconds left in the game. We thought in the beginning that this was going to be some super contest, and nobody's been disappointed.
First, I was just numb. The idea of what had just happened didn't really sink in. And after that, I'm thinking, okay, do we have time to do something else? Can we win this game anyway?
Now you have to remember how good the Cowboys are at moving the ball. They have 51 seconds left. Jones is the deep man. Now the kick by Wershing is a line drive split kick, and it is bouncing inside the 15. Picked up by Newsom, and he is out of bounds beyond the 25-yard line. He stepped out at the Dallas 26, and that's how far they have to go with 47 seconds remaining in the game.
This was not a time for a letdown. And I'm sure everybody was probably very discouraged over the fact that they just scored and taken the lead when we thought we had the game in the bag. So my point in the huddle was, all right, here we go. Let's get it done.
The last time the 49ers got this far, they lost to Dallas, and the score was 30-28. That was in 1972. There would be mass suicide here in the Bay if that were to happen. This record-breaking crowd is roaring. With 47 seconds left, the Cowboys are under the gun, and on first down, Danny White, with a long snap count, is back to throw. He sets, he looks, he throws long over the middle, and it's caught. It's caught down to the 45 of San Francisco. Hauled in by Pearson, and that was his first of the day, Pat.
Coach Landry called a deep turn-in route to me, and when I did catch the ball, Williamson and Wright kind of collided with each other, and I thought I was gone. I said, oh, no, here's another Hail Mary. And but out of the blue, out of nowhere, Eric Wright just grabbed my shoulder pads and was able to yank me down.
31 yards gain. It was incredible that White and Pearson completed that pass. I thought certainly it was going to be picked off. There were three defenders there. Finally, the tackle was made.
I think Eric Wright making the play to save the game, to pull down Drew Pearson from not scoring, to keep them out of field goal range, was probably one of the biggest plays of the game. History could have definitely been different if Eric doesn't make that play.
38 seconds remaining in this game. He comes to the right, along with Johnson. Hill is to the left. And on first down, with Dorsett and Springs in the backfield.
Well, it was unbelievable for a young, dynamic, energetic team that was just inspired throughout the season. Just a pleasure to be part of it, and so we celebrated. The first championship game in the history of the San Francisco 49ers that they won, and beating America's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
You guys earned it and deserve it because you're the best team in football, and you deserve it because of what him and everybody else has done. And I'm so proud, and I don't think that anything could top this. Anything in my life, and I love you all, and I thank you.
Well, we talked about being champions, and we're champions right now. We talked about being champions from July 7th. We're champions right now. We got one more to go. Congratulations for a tremendous effort. Tremendous.
What were you doing during that when you got the last drive? Where were you?
Seriously, I walked downstairs through the stands so I could be in the locker room. I thought we were going to lose the game, and I wanted the locker room closed so I could thank the team for the season.
Did you see the drive?
No.
Where were you?
I was in the end zone, the far end zone, behind a lot of people.
Couldn't you tell what was going on?
No, but one of my friends was up there, and I saw him jump, and I knew it was it.
It's called sprint right option. The play we've worked on all year, and it really hasn't worked like it did today. I was a secondary receiver. Freddie was supposed to get the ball, and on our first touchdown, we had run the same play, and Freddie had got in, made a great play, and they covered Freddie up this time, and I'm supposed to slide along the back end of the end zone, and it came wide open. Joe made a great throw, way up high where it had to be.
Well, this team's real young, obviously, and they have a lot of enthusiasm, and they've got an extra thing of never die. I don't know what it is. They just won't die.
We believe when we're down and out, when the crowd got quiet, we believe that we could do it. That's what's different. God gave us the strength. It's not going to stop here? No, we got one more game to play. We got to go to the Super Bowl and win that.
True to form, 2 weeks later, the San Francisco 49ers beat the Cincinnati Bengals in Super Bowl 16. For the 49ers and head coach Bill Walsh, this was the first of 4 world championships in the 80s. The decade was less kind to the Cowboys, who never made it back to a Super Bowl under Tom Landry. The impact of the 1981 NFC Championship game is still being debated.
You know, I mean, I've heard everybody credit the rise of the 49ers and the fall of the Cowboys to that one play in that one game. And I totally disagree with that.
There very well could be a lot of argument about that game being the beginning of the end for the Dallas Cowboys. But that next year, we marched right back to the championship game in Washington. I mean, we still had a good team. In '83, we came out and won, I think, 7 straight games. We ended up winning 12 that year. We lost in the first round to the Rams. I just don't see how any of those things have anything to do with what happened in 1982 in January.
A lot of people criticized Danny White for not being able to get us over the hump in 3 straight NFC Championship games to get us to the Super Bowl. But Danny White didn't lose that game against the 49ers. We put the game in the hands of our defense and expected them to stop them, but they didn't. Before then, there was no mystique, no aura about Joe Montana, but that play created a lot of mystique and a lot of aura about Joe Montana because he just made a heck of a play.
That catch sort of established the 49er dynasty. If there's been such a thing as a dynasty, it established them as certainly contenders every year.
That catch, if anything, what it signified on our team was that we were always going to try to find a way. We were always going to try to make sure that we do whatever it took to win the game. And there's 2 guys that, against all odds, said, hey, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to make the throw and I'm going to make the catch.
My entire career has been to avoid a highlight film. But, of course, I like getting to the ultimate one. You know, probably one of the most exciting plays, I would say, in playoff history.
From start to finish, the 1981 NFC Championship was a football game of epic proportions and truly one of the NFL's greatest games.